What's going on, everyone? So in this video, I'm going to share with you my 3 favorite supplements for massing, especially for hard gainers. Now, how do you know if you're a hard gainer? Typically, that means anybody who eats and they have issues putting on weight. And I know that for some of you watching this, it's like, oh, I always put on weight, but hard gainers, it's actually a real issue. I'm kind of one of them. I struggle to eat enough because I'm just so active and my body has a high metabolic rate. And while it sounds like one man's woes might be another man's victories, this is really something that has held my progress back in trying to put on muscle. And it's hard to eat 5,000, 6,000 calories a day of straight food. So that's where supplements come in. Now, I know there's a plethora of supplements, and I don't want you to watch this and think that these are the only ones, but these are the 3 that have repeatedly come back in science studies that this is really what's happening. There's a lot of other supplements out there that may or may not be worth your money. So these are the 3 that, in my experience, working with my results as well as my athletes, as well as other trusted coaches and peers of mine in the industry, these are the 3 we always come back to. So the first one we're gonna look at, it's really about getting calories in, and specifically when you're on a hard gainer and trying to lift and train hard, it's gonna really come down to carbs. You need to make sure you're eating carbs, and while I'm a huge fan of eating a bunch of carbs, whether that's white rice, I love pancakes, I love potatoes, I love oatmeal, I love white bread like sourdough bread, whatever you can do that. But one thing for me is I love doing these guys. These are just straight carbohydrates. So it's Carbo Gain from Now, but you have a bunch of different ones. But I really like these. This is maltodextrin. So what's nice about here is that you can throw it into a shake and it's super nice. It's unflavored, so I sometimes put it with my whey protein powder, and you can just put it right in there. It's pretty dense with calories, and that's a good thing if you're trying to gain weight. So one serving here, it's got 240 calories, a whopping 60 grams of carbs, and that's huge because somebody like me, when I'm on a bulking diet and I'm trying to gain mass and I'm training 4, 5, 6 days a week, and I'm also doing a lot of my Muay Thai, which I don't want to just cut out my skill work for something that I want to get better at, I have to eat a bunch of food. So for me, right now I'm eating about 700 grams of carbs a day. My body's still fighting to put on that weight. I'm hovering about 195 pounds, and I'm really trying to get through there. So last time I bulked, I had to eat over 800 to really get that going. So something like that was great because it's fast digesting. It doesn't sit in my stomach. I can drink it. It doesn't make me full, and I can eat my next meal a couple hours later. So I'll put that link down below, guys, but that's just Carbo Gain. Like I said, it's kind of like a white powder. Can't really see it here. You might. It's just a white powder, and I just scoop it in my drinks and put it with protein and this other supplement here, which is what I like here. So this one here, this is just creatine monohydrate. So there's a bunch of different fancy types of creatine out there. You can get, the pill form, the liquid form. Honestly, for your money, the creatine monohydrate's great. Any big company makes it. You shouldn't have to spend a lot of money on this. It's creatine, and this has been proven to be time and time again great for athletic performance in terms of power and strength. At the molecular level, if you're doing heavy resistance training, your body's relying on anaerobic, so without oxygen processes within the body. If we break down the very first step of the Krebs cycle, which is how we eat energy, and I'm gonna science nerd out on you here. When we break it down, we are left with creatine, adenosine triphosphate. It breaks off, and this is how our body gets that quick energy. That's what really starts that energy. So when we're looking at explosive fast movements, our body's using this stuff, and then it obviously transitions into using more of our substrates, just as carbohydrate for fuel and all that stuff. But this is how you kick off the party when you're looking to strength train and power. So while you can get this a lot from any meat really, this has been shown to help you out. Now, I know people will say, oh, you'll gain weight on creatine, you'll gain water. Yes, you will. You won't gain a lot of water. I've never felt that I've been unsightly bloated when I do this, and I do this even when I'm cutting, and I look great when I cut, and I still do this. So if somebody tells you you're just gonna get puffy and gain a bunch of water weight and it's fake weight, you might maintain water, but that might be just because you're drinking more water in general, and your body's just ready to kind of absorb it. So I wouldn't really worry about that, but this definitely helps with just performance, give you that extra little kick. It's very minimal, and it really you will notice it when you're doing more of your strength-based, power-based movements. And if your diet's just not on point, you probably won't even notice it. So this is really something to help you get that extra couple percent. Last one we're gonna talk about, whey protein powder. Now there's a million different types of whey protein powder. I'm not here to try and sell you on which one is better because there are a lot of great protein powders out there. Some key things you want to look at when looking at whey protein. So if you're seeing a protein powder and you're looking at the nutrition facts, that's the biggest thing. So when I look for a protein powder, I look for anywhere between like 110 to 140 calories max. And what I'm looking for is at least 20 grams of protein, hopefully between 20 and 25. That really shouldn't leave a lot of room for any extra sugars or carbohydrates or fats. Now, I know there's a lot of different types of protein out there, right? So if you have special dietary, whether it's pea protein, vegan protein, hemp protein, egg protein, beef protein, whatever it is, protein is gonna be protein, but you wanna look at the nutrition facts, right? So if you're eating pea protein, for example, a piece of vegetable that's not super high in protein, now it's gonna have protein in there, but if you look at the nutrition facts between that and maybe something like a casein or like a whey, you're gonna notice sometimes that maybe the protein ratios might not be as high. You're gonna have higher fat in there, higher carb. So just understand that your calories might not be coming directly from the protein of what you're looking for. Now what I have here, this is Nutriforce. I like this company. They have really good flavors. Like this is right here is our vanilla, but they have actually like little shrapnel of like little white chocolate vanilla bean in here. It's really nice, good little taste, gets a little bit texture there when I'm eating it or drinking it. Now, this also has glutamine in it and BCAAs. Now, there's a lot of kind of back and forth on is glutamine worth it, BCAAs worth it. It's in here, I love it, it's great. But that's why those aren't on this list, is because while those might and most likely may be beneficial for some people, really just protein, creatine, and carbohydrates, and then obviously calories are gonna be your best bets to gaining it on a budget, as well as, you can be taking all these protein supplements, all these different supplements, and it may or may not be working. And that's why I really wanted to focus just on these three today, because these are tried and true. Any athletic performance is gonna tell you this. Any bodybuilder can tell you these are the best three that are also legal. So that's what I wanted to go through today. Now, when you're looking again at your proteins, I know a lot of people do proteins and that's awesome, but make sure you're looking at the nutrition facts. Make sure you look at the calories. So again, I want 100 to like 140. I want to make sure there's at least 20 grams of protein. I want it to be mostly protein. Now, when you look down there, you can also see the sugars. So this one has sucrose, but sometimes you might get different sugars in there that based on your digestibility, everyone has a little bit different stuff. You might not be able to do that. So if you're looking at sorbitol, anything like that, if you can't do that, you have to make sure that you check out the other brands. Now, I hope you found this helpful. And once again, I'm not here to try and tell you to take supplements, because at the end of the day, you need to eat whole foods. Most of my diet is probably about 90% whole foods. A lot of carbohydrates when I'm bulking. I mean, a lot. Again, I'm eating like over 3,000 calories just of carbohydrates. I do eat fats. I don't eat a lot of high fat diets, especially when I'm either bulking or cutting, just because I'm performance and I'm a lot of strength and power. And your body can use fat for energy, but it is better off with more like endurance-based work. And I know there's a lot of people out there that say keto this, keto that. I'm not sold yet on that for gaining a bunch of mass, and that's why this video is about, is gaining muscle mass and a shitload of weight, and in a good way. And the cool thing about this is when you do the higher carb bulking and you're ready to cut, it's very easy. All I do is, if I'm adding 2 shakes to these, these carbohydrate powders in my diet, that's 400 or 500 calories of straight carbs. That's 100 grams of carbs. When I have to cut back my carbs, I just reverse engineer the diet, right? It's much easier to do that in my kind of viewpoint than to be taking a bunch of random stuff and now you're trying to figure out how do you reverse engineer this, and cutting is going to be a little more difficult. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. I know I kind of went off on here just about 3, but really focus on these 3. Focus on a good training program that has ample volume. It allows you to recover, and then make sure you're eating food. If you're not eating enough, no matter how many supplements you take, how hard you train, you're not going to gain weight. So if you're not gaining weight, it's pretty easy. You got to start eating more calories, specifically carbohydrates. Make sure you're eating 1 gram of protein per day, and then you can fit in fats there. And if you need to get a little more calories, you can bump up your fats too. But remember, carbohydrates are your body's main source of fuel for training and for growth and recovery.